Hello guys, how you doing? This is JP Sari once again coming to you. I promised this to many friends that I would do this, and a lot of people were waiting for this showdown actually for 2 years. So I do apologize for the long wait. Hopefully it's worth it. Hopefully you like it, and hopefully it really helps you out. Maybe you already made it your mind, but if not, we can rehash certain things and find out which one is the best. Alright, let's start with the first one, sculpture. That's the first thing we notice, the first thing we always see in any piece. The prototype always shows us what we want to see. Once you see the prototype, you know if you really want to see more of this piece or you want to buy it. But here, as you can see, this was sculpted by the Shiflett brothers. It's just phenomenal. Looking at that, I just love this sculpture. Look at how alive it is, how it's moving. You know, he's walking. Definitely, the Shiflett brothers did a fantastic job in portraying that movement. His chest is not as big, but it's very strong and pronounced. As you can see, his shoulders, phenomenal. Love the bands, you know, fantastic there. As I point out in my review of this one, this is not as accurate, but definitely still works well here. As you can see a small feet. Some people would say, wow, he's really small in comparison to the other one, but actually it works fantastic with the proportion of the body. So it's definitely a much better proportion as sculpture. I love the angles. I definitely love when I see the angle. As you can see, it is very alive. They did a fantastic job, even as you can see in the base, portrays destruction. It is well done. That brick wall coming apart, he's going through some debris. He's unstoppable force. There's more debris, there's pieces of wood, all that sculpted, of course, it looks like pieces of wood. Just phenomenal. And that face, look at that face inside there. It is just phenomenal. I love this piece. Definitely the sculpture, it's a win-win with this one. Now let's go to this one, to the newer one. This is sculpted by Eric Sosa for Kotobukiya. It just resembles mainly the 90s style Juggernaut. While the other one is a little more classic, this one is more 90s, with the big muscles popping everywhere, muscles popping on top of muscles. Some people might not like that type of thing, but it definitely defines what we remember growing up in the 90s. And this line, the line that this actually was created for, that's the Danger Room Sessions line, that it resembles the 90s style. And as you can see, that's our big feet, but the muscles, as you can see, he's huge. He's a monster. And as you can see, those powerful hands, arms, just fantastic. The rings, this is more accurate, as you can see, one ring instead of just multiple little rings. But look at that back, their muscles popping up compared to the one that was more flat. This is definitely, some people would say this is not as accurate, not accurate, but proportionate to a real body. But, if you know the comic books, this is proportionate to what the comics book were, what the Jim Lee style of comic books, not only Jim Lee, but everybody else that followed Jim Lee. The one thing that the other one doesn't have the ability to remove this. And even though it doesn't have hair, I love that face. Sometimes I just display just like that. Look at that. Oh, he looks horrible. He's an ugly guy, but he looks good. I like it. The job he did is phenomenal. I like that. I like that. Even the eyebrows here, that's 90s stuff. I love it. It's a fun piece. It's definitely fun. Now, putting them together and deciding which one is the best sculpt. To be honest with you, it's impossible to decide which one is better than the other one. They both are great jobs done by their respective artists. They are both phenomenal in their own right, and they represent their styles well. So definitely this is a draw, and there's just 1 point for each one. Now going into the paint application, that's the next category. So here we start again with the veteran, and here, as you can see, what I like about this piece is how bright it is. How colorful it is. Maybe some lines that are not as perfect, and you can see some areas, but that's just expected in pieces like this. But the color skin, the lips in there, as you can see, the eyes, the color, all this beautiful like bronze finish on top of the collar. It's just fantastic. I love the red, the fact that you can see the stains of dirt, or mud in there. You can see the paint application in here, fantastic, on the brick mortar, the wood, all that, the mud in the on the ground. Kotobukiya has always been famous for having to be sometimes a hit or miss when it comes about paint application. But I can tell you one thing: they did a fantastic, phenomenal job with this piece. And as you can see, it's a different tone. That's more like a bronze tone versus a more brown tone. But this is more like, well, that one has a more metallic feel. This one has more like a more made color. There's lines that were not done properly, but for the most part, everything was done well. It does have some shading. The other one has some shading as well, but this one has some shading in the line, so that defines that, like you see in the back. It helps to define the muscles even more. They pop out because there's shading in the lines. It's a well done job of shading. Definitely like it. Even the red here. If I had to choose one that does a much better job, it has a better job with the paint application, it will be the Bowen. It was tough for me to decide. I like them both. I even asked my wife, and my wife was the one that decided for me. She said, I like the Bowen because when you enter into a room, when you're displaying together, and I had them together at that time, she said, that's the first thing that cuts your eye. It's that one, because the way it is done, the paint application, it shines better, it's brighter, more colorful. This one is not bad. It's just not as bright, and it darkens some of the things. The darken colors darken some of the aspects of it. Like, for example, the face. If it was more brighter in a certain sense, it will pop. The face will pop more, and that grin and that smile. This one has that, because of this, the brightness of this. Even when the light comes up, as you can see the light here on top, it really makes this shine. This one has that there in the corners, but the eyes are invisible. Well, that goes well for a 90s version, but it's not as, it's not as pronounced. Even though Kotobukiya did a phenomenal job, I think that this is better. Even the paint application in the base is a lot better than the paint application on the base here. So if I have to choose between those two, like I said before, Bowen gets this point. Like I said before, this represents different styles of sculpture. Definitely this is a classic look. And the design with this one is a 90s style. So this is the effect to me. This is the what it really makes this piece is that no matter what angle, it seems like he is moving forward. And it definitely defines what the Juggernaut is all about. He's a force of nature. He's always moving. He's an unstoppable force. Nothing can stop him. And definitely that's what he's doing. This one I love. Like I say, I love Eric Sosa. He's phenomenal. When I look at the piece for the first time on the website, I was not really, in Statue Forum, when I saw the design, I was not keen or crazy about it. I was thinking, it's all right. I think it's try to imitate much of this. But this piece has grown on me since I got it. I love it. It represents the character well, especially the 90s character. He's just muscular. It's powerful. And as you can see in the muscles, the strength, he's not walking, he's standing. As a powerful force. He's standing there. He's showing his fist. He's ready to, pound you. It's phenomenal. There is a flaw before I can even tell you a point or who wins or who doesn't, who loses. They both have the same flaw. And the flaw they have is that they're both looking down. Now, it is good, that they're, looking down if you have it above and you display it above, because of course when you have it in a riser or in a place high above it, you can see the eyes. But the problem is that most of the time people in any display, and that's just being practical, people will display their villains at the bottom and they will display their heroes at the top. That's just simple practical thing that most people do, not even realizing they do. So what it does is that if you put it at the bottom, then what's happening is that you cannot see their faces. That is a flaw. So you have to put them above in a display where you can see their eyes, and that's when you can really appreciate the beauty of these pieces even more. In this one, there's no winner. Definitely, it goes to what you like and what your preference is. If you like more modern version of Juggernaut, more muscular, then you go for this one. If you want a classic more look that goes more with a classic display, especially with Bowen, then you go for this one. But regardless of, they're fantastic. So definitely this round is another draw. They're very close together, so it's 1 point for each. All right, now we go into the fourth category, the fourth round. Now it's production quality. Everything, it seems perfect. The only thing is, like I said, is just that little thing in there where it's not going all the way. I would have preferred for that to go all the way down. That way it will, be more stable. But other than that, it is nothing wrong with it. But yeah, you can see it rocks a little bit. Not much. Not really. I don't see the problem. It really defines it. So that would be maybe a nitpick. I don't think it's even a flaw. It's just part of the design. But definitely, looking at it, it's just everything is done well. It ruts a little because of that. So maybe, yeah, that's a little thing. I like statues that are very stable. I just personally do. Especially if you live in an area where they have, earthquakes or accidents, that can happen. Even if you have children or you have pets, if you have pets at the house. That could be a problem. If they're running around, they can just, move something, shake something. Now, it's very stable, the base. So definitely you don't have a problem with that. I think it's going to stay, good. It's the only thing that I would say. Everything else is done fantastic. They did a fantastic job in the packaging. Everything is good in this piece. It's just maybe that little nitpick. Now, that, allowed not to be this fully stable. Now, going to this piece. As you can see, that's very stable. The base is stable, very strong, very flat like that one, but it does have also its issues, and it's that one also. The way it's standing up, that one also can, tilt a little bit, but the difference is when this one tilts, it's only the piece. When this one tilts, it comes with a base. As you can see, because of the way it's set up, the base, even though it seems like the base, it was created, the top is wider and the bottom is more narrow. So yeah, it can tilt. Now for this to tilt, for these two pieces and to tilt, it will take a lot of strength for them to tilt. I cannot really decide what to consider if there was a flaw. It was done good. The quality of the material is good. It weights. They're both heavy. This one is heavier, but it's still very heavy. They're just phenomenal. They did a good job. The packaging is good. So definitely, this is another tie. All right, guys. As we know, we come to the end, last round, and so far, in this case, Bowen is winning over Kotobukiya by 1 point. They are 4-3. So we'll see. We have one more round. This round will decide if, in the end, Bowen is the total winner. Is pretty much close to it, or if Kotobukiya can match up and they can be at the same level. This is a toughie one. Now, the Bowen was done back in 2006, 2005. That's when he came out for sale. There's 2,500 pieces of that piece. 2,500. Now, this one, the Kotobukiya, was produced a few years back, and there is 1,600. Small runs always become more collectible over time. Although some pieces, they haven't had that luxury. Now, Bowen pieces has always been very, very, very profitable in certain pieces. For many years, this was hard to come by. It was really, really hard. After the collapse of Bowen Designs, the closure of the company, you saw more pieces floating in the market. A lot of people were selling their stuff out, and there's a lot of stuff out there. People love this piece. It's definitely a phenomenal piece, but I seen the price going down. At some point, I remember that they were selling it for $600. Now you barely sell it for $350, $300. I seen even people letting go for $300. I would not let him go for $300. But we'll see. You never know. But definitely has come down in price. There's more. Now this one steadily has increased in value, and all Kotobukiya pieces do that. They always increase in value. It's just natural thing that happens with Kotobukiya pieces, especially with Eric Sosa. They take a while to pick up, but once to get to a certain point, they really do, and they really do well. really, it was hard for me to decide. At some point, I would say maybe for some people might say this one wins because right now it's more expensive. But we cannot determine what the future will bring for any piece, even for the Kotobukiya pieces. I've seen a lot of Kotobukiya pieces going up in price too, and they're coming down in price again. So they are on the same level. So definitely, at some point, I would say that this one will be more collectible than this one for many reasons. But now I come to the conclusion they are both on the same level. It was difficult for me to decide, but in the end, definitely the winner is the Bowen. For and most importantly. Scope wise, it does well. I think they're matched together. Collectible value, they still match together at this point, still working together fine. The design, they have almost the same flaws. The production quality is pretty much almost the same, it's good. But what makes the difference is the paint application. This one has a better paint application. This is a good paint application. It's good, one of the best from Kotobukiya. In recent memory, but this one has the little edge, that little flair that puts it above. So it's a very minimal win in my opinion, because at the end I could simply say they're both this is a draw. But being trying to be as as technical as possible and also as fair as possible, and I have to give it to the one that deserves that win, and the one that's been here the longest, and even through all the years is still competing with with newer pieces, with in a market that is now flooded with more and more stuff. So definitely Bowen wins this match, and whether you have one or the other, you're still gonna be happy with your purchase. I hope you agree with me. If you don't agree, leave your comments below. Tell me how you feel about it. We can discuss it. We can talk about it. Definitely, I know everybody has their own favorites, and people sometimes they get their feelings hurt when things are said. But in the end, it's we just put facts against facts, and we just follow the facts. And regardless of, I love Eric Sosa. He's a good friend. The Shiflett brothers I admire for many years. They are good people, great sculptors. And no matter what you have, whether you have this one or you have that one, whether you decide to buy, or maybe this video helps you to buy this one or buy that one, you're still winning in the end. So thank you once again for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next review. And also, hopefully we can come up with another comparison video and match up more pieces and see how they work out together. Have a blessed one.